2 years ago, Ga-young Kim of Korea came this close to winning her first U.S. Open 9-ball title. Last year, given another chance, she didn't let the opportunity slip away. Today, Ga-young Kim, ranked third in the world, will try to move one step closer to defending her prestigious title. Her task will be a tough one, but to do it, she'll have to take down Alison Fisher, the Duchess of Doom, world #1, herself a former U.S. Open champion who wants the title back badly. Welcome to the pressure of the United States Open. From the beautiful Sandia Resort and Casino in Albuquerque, New Mexico, it's semifinal action at the QTech United States Open 9-ball Championship presented by the American Pool Players Association. Hello everybody, welcome inside Sandia Resort and Casino. It has been like this all week. Excitement in the air, it's a major championship. Couldn't ask for anything more. And what I think will be one of the fantastic matchups of this or any year in semifinal action between Alison Fisher and Ga-young Kim.
You're right. I think fantastic is going to be stamped all over this match. I mean, you got young, flamboyant Ga-young Kim against the surgeon Alison Fisher, who wants this event back. She's won it once, but she wants it back. And I know Ga-young wants to defend her title. So here we go.
So as these two great champions get ready for this first semifinal at the QTech U.S. Open 9-ball Championship, this is how it will play out. The winner of this match will meet 5th-ranked Monica Webb in the next playoff round. The winner of that match will meet the undefeated Karen Khor, ranked 2nd in the world, 2003 U.S. Open champion. We're very interested, as we all are, to see who will advance out of this match. Alison Fisher, the Duchess of Doom, will stay seated for the moment as Ga-young Kim from Korea comes to the table, and as she gets ready to break, let's quickly take a look at Ava's keys to victory. What does she have to do to get ahead in the tournament, Ava?
Well, Ga-young is a young and hungry player, and I think the main thing for her is to trust her instincts as a great shot maker. She's really offensive player, and she has to really believe in herself in that.
So we will see a powerful break out of Ga-young Kim. There it is. Cue ball hops a little bit, Ava.
Well, she made the 7-ball on the break there. You can see the 2-ball is down here. The 1-ball is up at this end of the table. With the cue ball being down here, she's going to obviously have to go into playing a safety. Sorry, that was the 3-ball that went on the break. 7-ball is still on the table. Oh, no safeties there. She just
well, you were talking about what a great shot maker she is, so she's coming with it right away.
Yeah, she had a bit of a two-way shot there. She went for the billiard and the bank both, and she did make the shot, but she still has not left herself a shot. There's 4 balls in the way, blocking the pocket. The 1 can't be made in the corner, so this time I'm guessing she's going to play a safety. This would be crazy to do anything but here, just to bank across, try to get behind that 7.
As Alison Fisher comes to the table, let me quickly give you the rules of the game. It's a race to 7 to move on. We'll be alternating break with a 30-second shot clock and 1 extension per rack on the players, and it will be cue ball fouls only. And how familiar is this face? How often in the last decade have we seen Alison Fisher? More than any player in the history of the game. The safety back at Ga-young Kim. She will have a window through there, Ava.
She does have a window. You can see the cue ball can hit the 1-ball. She can make it in the corner. And with the 2-ball being close to the corner pocket like that, as long as she gets by the 7 and 9. 1, 2. How's that for a stroke, Mitch?
Pretty good. This is, I was talking to Ga-young Kim before the match, and she was a little bit nervous. When she speaks English, she has a little bit of a halting time speaking. She speaks much better than she has in the past, learning the language. She said to me, when I get to the table, I'm not nervous. speaking English, I am. When I get to the table, I'm not. And you see a little bit of that calm ability to make shots right now.
Well, it's the young, fearless kind of, she just steps up and hits the balls, and it works against her, like in this situation right here. I mean, it was no reason for her to get snookered here. Just got up really quickly, hit it. 7-ball, blocking the pocket right here. She can't get to the 5. What she's gonna try to do here is kick at the cue ball, hit the 5-ball up table, and the cue ball the opposite direction to the other end rail. And hopefully behind these balls, nope, no good.
So that quick play in this first rack gives Alison Fisher a chance. And you see Ga-Yeon Kim sit, and her body language told you a lot there, because one thing you do not want to do, no matter who you are, is make mistakes when you are at the table, because no one capitalizes better than the Duchess of Doom.
Look out, 9.
Look out, 9. No. Very uncharacteristic. So baubles by both players. As she gets ready to take a shot at that 7, try to figure out how she's going to get to it. We see her standing. I'll quickly give you this great playing equipment. The standard of championship tables, the Gold Crown by Brunswick Billiards, Centennial Balls, and the Big Break Rack, also by Brunswick Billiards, and Simonis 860 cloth on that Gold Crown table. And she is taking a lot of time, Ava, looking at this.
Well, she's going to take her full time on this, trying to really figure out what to do. Obviously, want to hit it, but she would like to make the 7-ball. She just overcut it a little bit. Obviously, a really tough shot anytime you have to kick at it, but is she going to get a little bit lucky? No pace to hit him. Although, I have a feeling Ga-Yeon can make, yeah, there's no problem making the 7-ball.
So a reprieve for the defending U.S. Open champion, current U.S. Open and WPA World 9-ball champion Ga-Yeon Kim.
And look at this match. I mean, she could have gotten better position than that. She's got a thin cut down on this 8-ball. Have to let the cue ball go. Great shot on the 8, but look at the shot she's going to have on the 9 here. That's the danger when you leave yourself that tough of a cut. Tough enough to make it, and you really have to focus on making that 1 ball. But when you let the cue ball go like that, look at the shot she has on the 9. This is a tester here for the first rack, Mitch. Ooh.
Well, she's had a few, and interesting because this could set the tone. We'll see how she handles this for the first rack.
Wow.
How's that? How is that? Has to make her feel a little bit better. Not an easy rack. A couple of blown chances by both players. But Ga-Yeon Kim first on the board here in New Mexico. The QTech United States Open 9-ball championship is brought to you by Brunswick Billiards. Since 1845, the standard of superior craftsmanship preferred by experts around the world. By QTech, serious cues for serious players. And by Sandia Resort and Casino, close to home, far from ordinary. Alison Fisher knows what it feels like to keep moving through the field on the WPBA Classic Tour. Here is what her week looked like. Starting off strong, nobody getting more than 4 racks, and then she ran into Monica Webb, 5th ranked, and for the first time in her career, Monica Webb beat Alison Fisher. Alison came back and took care of the sledgehammer at Helena Tornfeld at 9-4, and is now attempting to move from the loser's side through. And here is what Ga-Yeon Kim's week looked like. The U.S. Open asks you for a lot. Ga-Yeon Kim losing early to Sarah Ellerby, 15th ranked Sarah Ellerby, and then had to come back and look at this run. Tiffany Nelson, a very tough match. Yuki Sakai, Angel Paglia, number 4 ranked Kelly Fisher went down, and then revenge over Sarah Ellerby, knocking her out at 9-6. And here is Ga-Yeon Kim trying to stay alive against the toughest player in the world. And Ava, what are your keys to victory for the Duchess of Doom?
I think it's the same as always, Mitch. Controlling the table and draw from her experience in these positions when the pressure is on. And as a side note, I do believe as well as both of these players play, I think the break is going to be a major factor in this. The player that can find the spot to make a ball and not just running out, but actually control the table, control that first shot, even if it is a push shot, is just huge. Now look at that break, Mitch. You made 2 balls on the break. The one went in the side, and the 2 ball conveniently shows up right in front of the side pocket. Here you have it, 2 ball right here. 3 is open. The only ball she has to worry about is the 8. She doesn't want to get snookered there. She has to go around the 5 ball here, into the side rail, down to the bottom rail, and come back up again. It's like threading a needle. Perfect speed.
We'll see if Alison Fisher can forget about that position error she made. It allowed Ga Eun Kim to get back to the table in the first rack, and nobody has done that better either, letting go of the occasional mistake.
I think that's a great point, Mitch. Alison, that's one of the reasons she is so consistent, and she is so much stronger than a lot of the players on tour. It's not just that she's a great shot maker and that she knows patterns, etc., but she is capable of just letting go of the mistakes she makes and just doing what's at hand.
Crowd let you know how close that came to the side pocket.
All right, here's the key position shot here. She wants to get somewhere in. She's got to choose either in here or right here for position on that 7. The 8 ball is a big ball right there. It can cause some problems if she's not careful with speed control. No problem.
Confident strolling around the table, Alison Fisher is up by a couple of matches over Ga Eun Kim this year on tour, 2-0. Ga Eun Kim yet to beat Alison. So this is a big test for her. And Alison Fisher with a 45-6 match record on tour. Just staggering the way she keeps rolling through the best players in the world, Ava.
That's incredible.
Winner of 4 events so far on tour: the Carolina Classic, the Great Lakes Classic, the BCA Open 9-ball championship, and the Midwest Classic, and trying to make the US Open title another notch on the Duchess of Doon belt. And she is on the board, and now we're all even in Albuquerque. Closed captioning provided by Ozone Billiards, your online source for billiard supplies. I'm here with the current United States Open 9-ball champion, Ga Eun Kim of Korea. And first of all, congratulations again.
Thank you.
You have had 1 year as United States Open champion. Let's go back 2 years. You had a chance to win, but for 1 shot, you lost the US Open championship. How did it feel not to win the championship?
I just think I have to practice more, and then I know a lot of things I'm not good enough to get the champion yet, so I just think I have to practice more.
And then last year you come back and you have a chance again against Karen Ford, the same player, and this time you win the United States Open Championship. How did it feel to win it?
Actually, I tried a lot about that 1 year. I I mean, I practice a lot, and then I play tournament a lot. So, you know, I'm ready. I was ready to play, you know, carrying court again. Yeah. So when I got first place, I mean, I was so happy. And then I think if I won, I can do everything. Yeah.
Well, you went on to win the World Championship this year as well. It's been a terrific time. Congratulations, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
And you can tell that this is not the happiest of places for Ga-Young Kim, the defending U.S. Open 9-ball champion, down by 3 racks at 1-4 against one player. You don't want that to happen, Allison Fisher. And here in rack number 5, kicking at the 4, and that foul by Ga-Young Kim, ball in hand to Allison Fisher, who goes on to take rack 5 and a 4-1 lead and a break in rack number 6. And a very confident looking Allison Fisher coming to the table, trying to extend the lead and get to 7 first to move on and meet Monica Webb in the next round. Karen Corr waiting undefeated on the hot seat for the U.S. Open title. Major championship on the WPBA Classic Tour here in New Mexico. Mitch Lawrence and the striking Viking, Ava Mattia Lawrence, and watch out for that. Hits the point.
She really let go of the cue ball there. She mishit the 1 pretty badly, and that resulted in cue ball down at this end, 1 ball at the other end, and that is the least favorite place you want to have it. So she's going to have to play a safety. The 7, 8, and 4 are all 5 are blocking the path to the 1 ball. She's going to have to push out here.
Sometimes those words just fall together in the wrong order, don't they?
That was Swedish wanting to come out, I think.
I think that would be interesting every now and then.
Extension. Yes, ma'am.
Takes her extension. And this is where, Ava, I think that Allison is so good. When she has somebody on the ropes a little bit, like a great champion in boxing, she knows how to deliver a knockout punch. And at 4-1, this is the critical time.
Well, a lot of people would never waste an extension
on a push-out.
On a push-out. And that's experience. She's not going to rush it. She's not going to just hurry up and do something that could end up hurting her. And there's a definite reason why Ga-Young let her shoot this again, because Allison's going to have to kick into the rail. There was no other place to go. She didn't want to leave an open shot for Ga-Young, so she's left herself a situation where she's going to try to kick, hit the 1 ball, and have the cue ball stay at that side of the table and send the 1 down to the opposite side.
Now she had used that extension. Ga-Young Kim never even she didn't undo her legs. She didn't move her hands. She just sat there and said, please.
Well, Allison may have come up a hair short of where she had planned on being, and she had to therefore shoot a tougher shot than she planned on, but she didn't leave an open shot for Ga-Young, so Ga-Young's probably going to just try to stick that cue ball behind the 2. Just like that.
And you know what has to be a little frustrating for Ga-Young Kim? You mentioned early in your keys to victory for Ga-Young Kim that she is a shot maker. That is her primary driving force.
Right.
She has not been able to get that untracked. She's got to play safeties here. She can't really get settled at the table yet. It's got to be frustrating.
It is frustrating, and you feel when you're this far behind, you feel like you need to, win 6 games every time you step to the table, kind of an attitude, but you can't. You have to stay patient. And like I said, you might want to go a little bit more offensively than you normally would if you were ahead or if it was a close match, but you still have to play the smart shot.
Now here's one of those opportunities to see where Ga-Young Kim is in this particular match. Going to go for the bank here.
No, she could go for the cut, but again, this is safety time. Oh, she went for the bank. Wow, good call, Mitch. I guess that was one of those shots, do or die. She knows she's down 4-1, and instead of playing the quote-unquote smart shot, she said, "The heck with it, I'm going for the bank." And that really, literally was a do or die.
This is definitely worth another look. You talk about critical shots coming at critical times. This one for Ga-Young Kim definitely fits that description. And now the shot maker, as we were saying, will it unlock some things for Ga-Young Kim? That was just fantastic.
It was almost a shot of desperation. She said, "The heck with it." And a lot of times this is when players are dangerous, is when they're down as much as a 4-1. You figure, well, it might be over now, but you know, now might as well freewheel, have some fun, pocket some balls, and we'll see if it's going to work out.
And this is the speed that we're used to seeing Ga-Yeon Kim get going when she feels comfortable. Sometimes it leads to mistakes. Other times it leads to a rack that takes about a minute to finish off. You'll hear the crowd erupt. They want a shootout here in the Old West. Ga-Yeon Kim and Allison Fisher going at it. Ga-Yeon still trails by 2 racks.
Game 6 to Miss Kim. Miss Fisher leads 4.
Watching tournament director Steve Tipton get ready, it gives us a chance to thank Brunswick Billiards for giving us 2 of the great official products here at the U.S. Open, the Big Break Rack and Centennial Balls. Part of the crowd here in the 5th largest state in the United States, the largest city in that state, Albuquerque. And as I said, they have been here all week at Sandia Resort and Casino. They have loved, as they always do, watching the WPBA Classic Tour roll through town. Ga-Yeon Kim, the defending U.S. Open 9-ball champion, at the table, down 2-4. Got a little bit of it back and a good break. That cue ball just parked in the middle of the table, Ava, and finishes very close to the 2.
A little bit of a cold roll here. Look at that. Cue ball and the 2 are tied up. Now, the angle, I don't think is looking good. For a second there, I think Ga-Yeon was hoping she could spin the 2 ball into that corner pocket, but I don't think that's makeable. She's going to have to play safety, I do believe. No, look at this. Look at this.
I'm going to talk about shot making.
She's trying to make the 2 in the corner.
Hello.
It's going.
Hello. I will tell you something, and I wish we had it on camera. She came with one of the great shots I have ever seen against Sarah Ellaby to get to this match.
Oh, that was spectacular.
Massey, when she was corner hook, and I said this to you, you will never see a better shot than the one she made against Sarah Ellaby. And that kind of attitude and mindset that we just saw in that shot on the 2 is what Ga-Yeon Kim brings to the table at any moment.
You never know what she's going to come up with. There she just played a smart shot. She played a billiard off the 8 ball intentionally into the side pocket there so she could hold the cue ball for the 4. But when it comes to exciting shots, I mean, because she is young and she is fearless, she does go for shots that a lot of players, they can make them, but they just don't, you know, they know it's not that smart of a choice. So, but she gets away with it because she makes it. So she's a very exciting player to watch. You never know what she's going to do.
Grew up in Korea. Her whole family plays. 3-cushion billiards was the game. That's how she grew up. She is very used to creative thinking when it comes to what she can do with the cue ball, what she has to do with the cue ball. And I think it adds a whole element that a lot of players, as we see her just getting a little bit out right here. But I was going to just finish that thought, that a lot of players don't grow up with that kind of creativity and shot making.
No, that's true. And again, keeping control of the cue ball, though, is obviously making the balls the most important. But you have a perfectly good rack here. Her 8 ball was going to be her main issue, and instead she let the cue ball go, and now she's got a tough backwards cut on the 6 ball, and she's going to have to let the cue ball go all the way around the table. And you know what? She played that really well, Mitch, to be able to hold the cue ball. And now for the 7 in the side. Well done. And she doesn't even give herself time to think about if this is it a tough shot or not.
Right.
She just gets down and hits the ball. It's pretty amazing to watch her when she's on.
Well, so far now we're seeing what we came to see with Ga-Yeon Kim, which is tough shots, easier ones, a little bit out of line, a little bit of inconsistency, and saving herself by big-time shot making. Ga-Yeon Kim back-to-back racks and within a rack of the Duchess of Doom.
Game 7.
Here in New Mexico, it seemed like Ga-Young Kim was kind of lulled into a little bit of a sleep by Allison Fisher's play in racks 2 through 5. Allison up 4-1, and Ga-Young Kim then came with a fantastic bank in the 6th rack, which seemed to wake her up. And then in rack 7, after the break, this tough shot on the 2, outstretched out over the table as Steve Tipton looked on, and that, I'm telling you, Ava, she is now fully awake. Back within a rack, has come with some really unbelievable shots. And I said, it seemed like she was into the sleep and somebody turned the switch on in her bedroom and she went, okay, I'm awake now.
You bet. And it'll be interesting to see how Allison answers this, because I don't care who you are, when somebody puts that kind of a barrage on you and that kind of shot making, it scares you a little bit. You know, you just realize that, you know, I can't give this woman any kind of a shot. She'll make him from anywhere. So again, Allison, see if she goes back to drawing experience, take back control of this match. And this does not hurt Mitch, making a ball in the break. And although the 2 is down here by the 9 ball, if she can make the 1 ball, it's a little bit covered by the 7 right there. If she can make it, getting down to the 2 for Allison anywhere in this position down here should be no problem. It's all about speed control. If she can't make it, then she's going to have to play a safety, maybe use the 7 as a blocker. Oh, no problem. And she went the other way with the cue ball. That's got to stop. That's, oh boy. Not where she wanted to be. She way overhit it. She came around to the other side of it, and that 9 ball. It's a very big ball right there in front of the 2, and she's going to be forced to just kicking it this way and try to make that 2 ball in the corner pocket. She's going to hit this fairly softly, I believe, Mitch, and possibly leave the cue ball behind the 9 if she were to miss it. Nope, no good. And look at this, a chance for Ga-Young. Looked like she was completely out of it at being down 1 game to 4. And now all of a sudden she has a chance to tie it up 4 apiece.
And look at the difference, not only in body language, just kind of the energy that's coming out of Ga-Young Kim now. Much lighter step, almost a little smile there when she asked Steve Tipton for the bridge. Pretty interesting stuff. She knows she's back in this match, and I guarantee you Allison Fisher knows she's in a match right now.
Oh, absolutely. And we do talk about it a lot on these matches, but the momentum is such a big part of all sports. But I mean, as far as pool, because the whole room can feel it right now that Ga-Young has a huge advantage. Now, obviously, it's hers to lose here, because if she does make some kind of a major mistake, it could be very quickly, just as easily, back in Allison's court again. But everything is right now feels like it's going Ga-Young's way, and she is back playing that fast game, Mitch, and she is tough to stop. She's like a freight train when she plays the speed. You know, she reminds me a lot about of Vivian Villarreal at the pace and the offensive type style that she has at the table.
We always joke around out here on tour that there's certain players that when they play each other, like Ga-Young and Vivian and Kelly Fisher, that a match could take all of 8 minutes between these players. But this is Ga-Young Kim's strength. And that is what we're talking about. 3 racks in a row for the little devil girl. That's what they call her out on tour, Ga-Young Kim. And we have a true shootout here in Albuquerque. Now it's time to take a look at one of our other top finishers, brought to you by the American Pool Players Association. This week, a fantastic one. The 15th ranked Sarah Ellerby. Wonderful time here in Albuquerque, including a big-time win over the defending U.S. Open champion, Ga-Young Kim. Albuquerque, New Mexico, the site, the Sandia Resort and Casino, the place for the QTQ's U.S. Open 9-ball championship, and we indeed have a terrific match going on between the Duchess of Doom, Allison Fisher, who is seated as we move into rack 9, and Ga-Young Kim. Allison Fisher up at 4-1. Ga-Young Kim came back and has 3 racks in a row to tie this match up in a race to 7 at 4 apiece. And though Allison Fisher will not be quick to tell you, I know that she is fully aware of the kind of shot making that Ga Young Kim is capable of, appreciates it. She herself can make some great shots. Ga Young Kim will stay at the table.
And Allison, like you said, she knows the power of Ga Young Kim. She has seen it plenty of times before. She knows she loves it here in Albuquerque. And after a break like that, you can see, looks like she can make the one ball in the corner. The question is the cue ball. She knows she's going to glance off this 9. So if she puts a little bit of high right on this, she'll come 2 rails, 1, 2, up for the 2. Well done. Created a little bit of a problem here because the angle she has on the 2, she's looking at it. Here's the 3 ball down here. And with the 2 being where it is and all these balls being in the way, her path is a little bit blocked as far as getting position. What she'd like to do preferably is to shoot the 2 in this pocket, then have the cue ball come out for the 3. But I don't think she has the angle, so she's forced to play it in the corner. Look at this.
We're going to talk about somebody who's really feeling it right now.
I mean, she just steps up like it's straight in. That was a backwards cut to shoot, a thin cut on the corner, and she just nailed it. Perfect position, and then is she going to get there? Nope.
And she knew it. You could see her pick that left arm up right away.
I'm a little surprised that she didn't go 2 rails on that. She tried to spin the cue ball all the way up. I thought for sure that she was looking to play position, play the 5 in the opposite corner. And now, look at this, Mitch. She's jumping over a full ball on the 6. That means it has to get all the way up to get over the full ball without flying off the table here, trying to make this 5. Really tough jump. No good. And right there, that could come back and haunt her in her dreams here over the next few days, because this is what she did not want to do, was just invite Allison back into the match. If you don't make anything on the break, or if you get a little bit unlucky, fine. But this, she could not afford to do this. Since she was down 4 games to 1, things were going Ga Young Kim's way, and all of a sudden now she invited Allison back in, and she can take control of the match.
And not a chance to play a safety, make Allison come with a tough shot, but to
Exactly.
give her ball in hand at this point. And much as we ramble and talk about, Ga Young Kim's shot making ability too, sometimes, and it is a byproduct, there is no question in my mind about the speed in which she plays, that occasionally it will creep up and bite. I think you've got to deal with it. She has gotten a lot better, has Ga Young Kim, in terms of that, and playing a little bit smarter sometimes. But once she gets wound up and going, that's what happens. Bottom line, this is to take a 1-rack lead for Allison Fisher. She will not let that kind of opportunity go by the wayside. The Duchess of Doom, with another one on the board, leads by a rack in a race to 7.
Game 9 for this.
Allison Fisher, outwardly calm as she always is, and she will come to the table with an unexpected 1-rack lead at 5-4 now over Ga Young Kim. Allison Fisher at one point up 4-1. Seemed to be just strolling through this match as Ga Young Kim wasn't really in it. And 3 racks for Ga Young Kim, spectacular shot making, and then a big mental mistake, Ava, which we'll talk about, by Ga Young Kim in the 9th rack. And Allison Fisher up at 5-4 and trying to get on the hill in a race to 7. And a good break. That's a great time for that one.
1 ball made on the pocket. And look at this. What an opportunity she has here, Mitch. 2 ball right here. All she has to do is come out anywhere in this area for the 3 ball. And the balls from there are pretty much wide open. This is the key shot in this rack right here, is getting on the 3. Oh, perfect. She just barely went past that 9, avoided the scratch in the side, and what a costly error on Ga-young's part in the last rack.
Now, we'll just briefly touch on it because you made an interesting point about it, which was the mental error part of it, not a physical error by Ga-young Kim, but a mental mistake on how she tried to get to a shot.
Yeah, I think she did make an error in judgment as far as getting position. She could have gone 2-rail position there and come out where there was no way to get snookered. Instead, she tried to spin it and draw past the cluster of balls, and she only had about a 6-inch window where she needed to be for position, and it resulted in getting snookered, and that was really costly. I'm sure it's one of those where she'll watch this later on and go, oh no, you know. And sometimes when you get playing as fast as she does, you know, you don't always check out an alternative 2, you know? You just kind of go for it, the first thought that comes into your mind, so.
Well, we talked about her being a very intuitive player and a shot maker, and there's also a learning curve. You know, we forget, we ask so much of players that they be perfect all the time and go for every shot the textbook way it should be attempted, and sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. Ga-young Kim is still a young player. She has jumped to number 3 in the world,
right,
which is just fantastic. Cannot talk enough about how hard that is to do. Only behind Alison Fisher and Karen Kaur in a very short period of time. It does not mean that she doesn't have a couple things to learn. This match is not over, though. Alison Fisher doing her best to make it as close to being over as she can. This rack would put her on the hill at 6-4. She can take care of these remaining 3 balls.
And this is where Alison is the most punishing player out there. Obviously, she has everything it takes to control a match, but even when she's not playing her best, if you make a mistake, if you show some weakness, she is right there to make you remember it and make it hurt really badly. Just a fierce, fantastic competitor.
Alison Fisher putting a halt to Ga-young Kim's run, and the 8-time Player of the Year, Alison Fisher, now on the hill, 1 rack away from moving on. We have had a fantastic week at the Sandia Resort and Casino. Great in the past, but made even better by the beautiful new resort hotel, golf course, always, of course, the same terrific gaming and entertainment. Indeed, Sandia Casino is far from ordinary. Ga-young Kim seemed to be rolling along, and indeed was, until she made a basic mental error. Ava, explain it to us.
Well, she tried to spin this cue ball up into this area right here, and all she had to do was go 1 rail across and try to get anywhere in here, and she couldn't get in trouble. Instead, she had to come with an amazing jump shot that failed, and it cost her 2 games. What a big turnaround that was.
Huge, and that failed jump shot gave Alison Fisher ball in hand to make matters even worse. And instead of Ga-young Kim being up by a rack at that point at 5-4, Alison Fisher took a lead and is now indeed on the hill after 10 racks. Ga-young Kim, all she can do is take care of rack number 11 and put some pressure back on Alison Fisher.
That's right, and she's got a good start. Thin cut on this 2 into the corner pocket. Her issue right here is where the 3 is. The fact that it's close to the 6, the 7, she's going to have to get perfect position on it. Play nice speed. I think she's going to have to go with the 1 rail across with the cue ball. Play the 2 down here, go 1 rail across anywhere in here, and then deal with the 3 to the 4 later on. The main thing is she cannot snooker herself here. That's got to hurry. Well done.
And this is where, as a young player, Ava, I think Ga-young Kim has to be very, very careful, because the temptation to want all of it back right away and not to just settle in and focus on 1 ball and take care of only what you can take care of.
Right. That's a great point. Oh, she wants it to stop. It's going to stop. Oh. I could have hit a little speck of chalk or anything that was on the table right there, and the cue ball rolled off and gave her a little bit tougher shot than it looked like she was going to have. Got to be careful here, Mitch, because the angle, if you hit this cue ball with high or even center, you could risk running into the 9 and scratching in the corner pocket. So she's going to have to just use a little bit of extra load to get around the 9-ball, drew it out perfectly for the 6, and nice speed. Now all she has to do is make the 6, stun the cue ball, and she has it right there for the 7 on the side.
You know, we have certainly seen all manner of things happen out here on tour at any given point. And if she can take care of this rack, Allison Fisher would have the break in rack 12, try to end it, but you never know what's going to happen. You can never tell what the break's about. Certainly any player out here capable of putting a few racks together. We've seen both these players put racks together today. So this is a very, very good sign for Ga-Young Kim that she's just doing what she has to do.
She really impresses me, Mitchell, from after what happened a couple racks ago and Allison answering and getting on the hill for her to run this rack. Really strong.
You bet. The defending champion at the U.S. Open, unwilling to give it up easily. Allison Fisher still up by a rack and will try to end it at the table. The QTech U.S. Open 9-Ball Championship is brought to you by the American Pool Players Association, the world's largest pool league. By Brunswick Billiards, since 1845, the standard of superior craftsmanship preferred by experts around the world. And by QTech Cues, serious cues for serious players. The Duchess of Doom, Allison Fisher, now in her 2nd decade on the WPBA Classic Tour. And she has indeed owned the first decade she was out here. 8 times the Player of the Year, and I guarantee you, she is very easily on her way to another Player of the Year. 4 titles out here, including the BCA Open 9-Ball Championship. She knows what it would mean to take this U.S. Open title. She had it in '99, and a little tough for her to get the last few years. Elena Tornfelt, Karen Corr, and Ga-Young Kim, the last 3 U.S. Open champions. And Allison wants it back for sure. And this is what I was talking about. Not an easy layout here, Ava.
Absolutely not, especially not the very first shot. Having the 1 ball down here, cue ball on the end rail, and not only that, but even if you solve that, the 5 and 8 are tied up. So excellent opportunity to go ahead and play a safety. Knock the 1 ball up table, hold the cue ball perhaps behind the 5 and 8. Just pick your blocker and focus on that. Pick 1 ball to focus on, either the cue ball or the object ball where you want it to go, and she picked the cue ball, and look at that shot. Absolutely perfect speed. Ga-Young may even go for the jump shot here, although with the 1 ball so close to the rail, you try to jump over these 2 balls right here, and that's what she's going to do. You got to be careful because you're hitting the 1 ball. You got to make sure you hit it fairly full. If you hit it too thin, the cue ball could bounce off the table very easily if it's hitting on its way up. But she does, and she's jumping a full ball, that 5. Well done, and look at this. She's going to get the safety out of it on top of it. How about that? Nice shot.
Confident player is Ga-Young Kim. These are all pressure shots now at this point in a match, trying to move on at the U.S. Open.
It's a big safety battle. That's going to, I mean, this is really important to get the first shot in this rack. I think Allison, it looks, the way she's cueing it, it looks like she's going to thin it on the right-hand side. No, she went for the bank. Look at this. Perfect shot. That is a perfect shot. She knew that she had the 5 and the 8 there, and even the 3. As long as she didn't hang it up in the pocket, she knew she was her odds of getting a safety and play a two-way shot there were pretty good.
Is there anybody, in your opinion, who sees the table better than Alison Fisher in terms of what she is able to do?
Absolutely not. There's no question. And speaking of seeing what she wanted to do right there. No, there is a shot. See, that's the thing, Mitch. There is a shot there. You see that shot. If you hit and you hit withdraw,
I used to
cue
like
ball's going to
her.
slow. The cue ball's going to slow down. But for her to hit it, I mean, that is such a perfect shot she just hit. Alison wants to smack her.
I love this about Alison, though. She enjoys this part. This is truly a great matchup right now. It has developed into what we thought it would be at the beginning of the match. She knows Guyon Kim's coming with some shots. She's forcing her to really beat her.
Oh, it's close.
You bet.
All right. Ball in hand for Guyon Kim. Alison Fisher not happy with the way that played out. Guyon Kim very happy. Now, you see the 5 and the 8 tied up, Ava? Any problem there?
Absolutely. And here's where she can solve it right now. The fact that she has ball in hand and the fact that the 2 ball is by the side, she's going to try to break it up now. But look at this. She didn't pay enough attention where on the 5 and 8. And she snookers herself. And what looked like had a good opportunity to be a 6-6. This could be a nightmare. She needs to make this, Mitch. She needs to make this jump shot, or she needs to get incredibly lucky. That was a heartbreaker. She needed to really pay attention where on that 5-8 to hit.
I'm not putting it past her to make this.
Well, it's very doable. Oh. And that could very well be her last shot at defending her U.S. Open title right there, and she knows it, Mitchell. She is sick.
Every shot has 2 components to it, at least. One is making the ball or doing something with the object ball you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to do with. And the second thing is to make sure you're out ahead of it and see what's going to happen next. And Guyon Kim is paying for not taking care of the second part of the shot before.
Absolutely, and she did what she
Wow.
wanted to do. She broke up the 5 and 8, but she didn't take that extra time of paying attention exactly where on the balls to hit, so she didn't get in trouble the way she did. And now, not only is Alison back at the table, but the only major problem that was there, the 5 and 8, Guyon took care of. So things are looking really dark for Guyon here. She's had a pretty spectacular year, though, you know.
She is.
Won the
She
World
is really.
Championships.
And the U.S. Open, she's moved up to 3rd in the rankings. I kind of mentioned that in passing about what a staggering statistic that is for someone who has not been around that long. In 2001, Guyon Kim took 4th in the Amway Cup. She'd been the Korean 9-ball champion for a number of years as a teenager, but beat Karen Kaur in 2001, finished 2nd at the U.S. Open in 2003 to Karen, had a chance to win it, won it last year and the World 9-ball Championship. And no matter what happens, and this rack is not quite dead yet, but I know we will see a lot more of Guyon Kim. And Alison Fisher's trying to make sure Guyon does not have another chance at the table. And that was solid right there. Very rarely will you ever see Alison Fisher miss at this point in a match.
And she knows she got away with one a little bit there with Guyon making that error. I'm sure she did not expect that. And heartbroken Guyon, but she's had another phenomenal tournament, and we're going to see a lot more of her, like you said.
And in terms of this U.S. Open, the Queen is dead, and long live the Duchess. Fantastic matchup. Guyon Kim does not feel very good right now. She put on a great show. Alison Fisher moves on, and we'll meet Monica Webb.
She's not bad, is she?
It is now time for our super shot of the match, brought to you by Q-Tech Cues. And Alison Fisher was up 4-1, moving into rack 6. Guyon Kim at the table, and it was decision time. Do I keep going the way I have, laying low and not really going for my game? No, came the answer. A beautiful bank on the 1, set her up in beautiful position for the rest of that rack, and Ga-Young Kim made a match out of it, tied it up at 4. But Allison Fisher goes on to defeat Ga-Young Kim. And Ga-Young Kim, the defending U.S. Open champion, now out. There you see Allison Fisher will meet Monica Webb in the next match. The winner of that match will move on and meet Karen Korn. One of these 3 players now will be your U.S. Open 9-ball champion. Glad you've been with us here in New Mexico. Keep your eyes open for those great matchups. For Ava Mattia Lawrence, I am Mitch Lawrence. So long, everybody, from Albuquerque. Accommodations this week have been provided by the Nativo Lodge. Experience the heritage of Albuquerque in their newly renovated hotel. Visit them on nativolodge.com. We also want to take a chance to thank the great volunteers from the American Pool Players Association. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.